What is going on, YouTube? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 7, Episode 13, Sisterhood of the Traveling Beefs. So we start off with Miss Karen. Miss Karen is running around getting things ready for the trip that her and Ashley are hosting in Mexico. Everybody's invited, and everybody's going to have, I guess, their own room, and all the rooms are going to be the same because we don't want to go through another debacle of grown women coming to near fisticuffs over where they're going to be sleeping for a couple of days. So then from there, we move on to Gizelle. Gizelle is in her car and she's on the phone talking to Robin. And they're talking about Gizelle's most recent doctor's visit. Evidently, Gizelle has really huge fibroids, and the doctors told her that they're so big they can't be removed. The only option, if she wants to get rid of her fibroids, is to have a full hysterectomy. So prayers out to Gizelle, and we all hope that everything goes well with that, whatever she decides to do. So then Gizelle and Robin, they start talking about Karen's event. They're shading her event. True enough, Karen's event wasn't all that, but to me, it was a little bit better than Robin and Gizelle's event. So then Gizelle tells Robin that she is determined to get to the bottom of Karen and Charisse's beef. So I was kind of surprised because I always thought that Karen and Charisse had beef because Charisse had revealed on one of the reunions a few years ago when she was an actual cast member, Charisse had revealed that Karen was seeing another man that she referred to as Blue Eyes. So because Charisse blew her spot, I thought that was the reason why Karen and Charisse had beef, but evidently there's something else brewing between the two women. So then after that, we're at Robin's house, and Robin and Juan are telling their boys about the upcoming wedding, and she's telling her boys that a tailor is going to be coming over to take their measurements for their suits. Robin tells us that the prenuptial agreement has been resolved. Her and Juan were able to come to whatever agreement on the prenup, so that is taken care of. So then when the tailor comes over to take the measurements, the tailor asked her, "So when is your wedding?" And Robin says in 40 days. And so the tailor was kind of taken aback, like, wow, you're going to plan a wedding in 40 days? And I don't care. She can plan a wedding in 40 days. She can plan a wedding in 40 minutes. I don't care, as long as this wedding gets done. It is a lot. In her confessional, she even said something about how, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I set the date for 40 days because it might not be enough time to get the suits made. The suits fitted, the suits made, to find her dress, get that fitted, find the venue, all that stuff. So 40 days is not a lot of time to plan a birthday party, let alone a wedding. But honey, I don't care. They can show up in suits that are too small, shoes that are too big, and her dress could be halfway done, and they can get married under a freeway. I do not care, as long as they finally get it done so that we can stop talking about it and we can stop speculating on whether or not Juan and Robin will ever get married. Moving on. So we are at Mia's house. She's in her office talking to Gordon, and Mia has a lot going on. She has her little post-its all over the place. So she wants to portray that she's extremely busy. A lot going on with the clinics, the kids, this trip to Mexico. She has a lot going on. So she mentions that there's some issue going on with her nanny. Now, her nanny is actually Jacqueline's sister. And I think Mia had mentioned to Gordon that whenever Jacqueline needs someone to watch her kids, Mia has been gracious enough to allow Jacqueline to drop off her kids at Mia's home where her nanny is, and the nanny will watch all the children. So I guess Mia is getting kind of tired of that because it's like Jacqueline is taking advantage of that. And I'm assuming also Jacqueline is not paying for that and not providing any type of compensation for her children, eating up Mia's food, etc., etc. So that's going to be coming up a little bit later in the episode, this issue of the nanny. So Ashley, Wendy, and Karen were going to be arriving in Mexico a little bit ahead of the other women because they want to get the rooms situated. And so when they get there, Wendy is letting us know that she is still recovering from her kidney stones. So I feel really bad for her, but she seems to be doing well. She's holding up pretty well. And Ashley, in her confessional, she talks about how she's like afraid of living her life without Michael and living as a single woman or a single mom. Ashley is not concerned about that. Ashley, I think, is looking forward to life without Michael. I don't know why she's putting up this front that, she's like so nervous to venture out into this territory of being single. And girl, you're happy about Michael not being in your life anymore. Now, maybe you're upset about not having Michael's money so, freely accessible to you. Call a thing, Ashley. Don't play with us. It's not about living without Michael. You just don't like living without Michael's money. So, like I said, Karen, Ashley, and Wendy, they arrive first. And as we're waiting for the other women to arrive, we find out that on the plane, Mia and Jacqueline had kind of got into an argument about the nanny looking after Jacqueline's kids. So Mia had to check Jacqueline about something that Jacqueline had said, and Jacqueline came back to Mia with, well, it takes a village to raise a child, but you wouldn't know that. And that really hurt Mia because she was referring to, Mia practically growing up without her parents and growing up almost like an orphan. So that kind of hit below the belt for her. So because of that comment, Mia had her guns ready to go. Everybody else arrives. The first thing that they do is they celebrate Ashley's birthday. They talk about the fight between Mia and Jacqueline. So Mia explains, what the fight was about, so on and so forth. And then Jacqueline says that so Jacqueline tells Mia, I don't know how the conversation between Jacqueline and Mia went from talking about the nanny and, I guess because somebody had said, well, that was a really bad fight. And one of them had said, well, that wasn't our worst fight. And then Jacqueline says, well, the worst fight that we had is when you threw a brick at me and almost killed me. That was the worst fight that we ever had. So then it escalated to Jacqueline telling Mia that she needs more eggplant in her life. And then Mia comes back to Jacqueline and says, well, you need to keep your legs closed to married men. So when she said that, I thought she was just making a general statement, like maybe that's Jacqueline's thing is to go out with married men. I didn't think that she was referring to Gordon. So Jacqueline says that she is done with Mia. She says, I've defended you your whole entire life. I've been there for you your whole life, and I would never sleep with Gordon. So I was like, oh, so Mia meant keep your legs closed to my man, my husband. And so Jacqueline was really bothered by that. She's crying, and Mia is just cool, calm, and collected. Like no emotion on her face, no reaction, no nothing. So Wendy says in her confessional that Mia has had issues with her. Mia has had issues with, someone else. She's always having issues with somebody. But for her to have a falling out with her best friend of over 20 years, that was really grimy of Mia. So next they go to a shaman. Don't really care about that. Then they go to dinner. And this is where it got really interesting. So they talk about Gizelle dating again. I don't know why. Why are we talking about Gizelle and anybody that she's dating? They showed us a tiny, like 5-second clip because I think Ashley had ran into Gizelle and her date at some restaurant. So they showed us like a really tiny clip of that, and we got to see the gentleman that they were referring to. It doesn't really matter. We'll never see this man again. Gizelle will never mention him again because she's very top secret about her dating life. Maybe they're going to break up. Maybe she won't talk about him and she'll keep him who knows? It really doesn't matter why we talk about anybody that Gizelle is seeing. So Ashley says that she's not sure if she's really over Michael. So she's acting like she's debating whether or not she wants to go through with the divorce. Nobody cares. Candace talks about her starting her IVF journey again. And she's hoping that her egg retrieval this time will go a little bit better than last time. So here we go. Gizelle, the mess starter. She starts off with, I have a confession to make. She was talking to Charisse. She's like, Charisse, I have a confession to make. I did tell Karen that you posted the video because you didn't get invited to her live show. Now, the video that Gizelle is referring to is after the live show, all the women went out clubbing, and I guess they were recording one another, and somebody had recorded Karen dancing with Mia, I think, and they both had a wardrobe malfunction, and there was like a nip slip on both of them. I mean, Mia's full breast, I think, was hanging out. And for Karen, she kind of had like a little nip slip. And so somebody was recording this and they sent this to Charisse. And then Charisse, I guess, posted it to the group chat or something. she posted it to the group chat, or she sent it in the group chat. And so they thought that Karen was going to be really upset, but Karen, you will never see Karen sweat. Karen is not going to let you see her sweat, not for 1 minute. Karen, the only thing Karen responded was, don't refer to my breasts as titties, they are boobs. So that's the video that Gizelle was referring to when she said, I did tell Karen that you posted the video because you didn't get invited to her live show. Charisse denies that was the reason why she posted it. She was like, you know what, there was some ill intent behind it because we're not getting along, but it had nothing to do with the live show. So then Karen says, my issue with you is that you didn't send it to me first, and you're constantly asking me why we're not friends. I guess Karen was trying to say, this right here is the reason why we're not friends, because this is the shady stuff that you do. So if you want to know why I don't see it for you, it's because of stuff like this. So then they start arguing. The argument gets really, really heated. They go back and forth, back and forth. Karen then starts screaming at Charisse to keep her mother's name out of her mouth, because at some point they were talking about, like Charisse had said, well, you didn't contact me when my father died. And Karen was like, well, you didn't contact me when my parents died. And they were talking about the funerals of their parents. So at some point Charisse was mentioning whether she went or didn't go to Karen's mother's funeral, and Karen got upset and said, keep my mother's name out of your mouth. Now, she really wasn't saying her mother's name. She was referring to her funeral to make a point about something else. And, Karen didn't want her to say anything regarding her parents. So it gets really heated between them. They're both standing up on opposite sides of the table, because at this point, they're at dinner. They're both standing up at opposite sides of the table, screaming at each other. And Karen even said, I'll beat you up right here, right now. And it got really bad. And the whole entire time, Gizelle is sitting in her chair, her throne of evilness, just, observing, watching, partaking in this fight between these two black women and enjoying herself. This is what Gizelle does. And it's absolutely sickening to me that she takes such pleasure in watching her castmates go at it, like not just watching them, but instigating it. Like, it's all of the day's work for Gizelle to start fights between her castmates. That's what she's here for. Now, I understand that's the role that she plays, but it doesn't make it less disgusting. It doesn't make it less bad, because you're taking pleasure in starting fights between, African American women, and it makes you happy to see them fight. Now, it's one thing if the fight was natural and you're just going to sit back and watch it, but the fact that you are instigating it and then relishing in it, that's the problem that I have with Gizelle. For example, the fight between Mia and Jacqueline was organic. They have their own issues and it erupted into a fight, and it is what it is. But for Gizelle to be like, oh, it's too quiet, it's too peaceful, let me start some mess so these women can start fighting, then I'm going to sit back and enjoy it and act like it's bothering me. I don't like that. I don't like that kind of fakery. I just don't like it. Like I said, I understand that's her role in the show. That's what they pay her for. She's an instigator. I still don't like it. I don't know if it's because it's Gizelle or what. I just don't like it, because there's enough drama between these women that if you just give it enough time, they're going to start their own fights. Just give it enough time. And I understand that we watch reality TV shows for the mess, the arguments, the shade, the dragging, the drama. This is the reason why we watch reality TV. We don't watch reality TV to see a whole bunch of people holding hands around a campfire singing Kumbaya. We watch it for the mess. But there's enough going on amongst this group of women. The mess is going to come eventually. But the fact that she relishes in starting it, I don't know. And that just doesn't sit well with me. But that's just me. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, do not forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please go ahead and subscribe, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.